If you've ever felt guilty about what you eat, if food feels like a test you keep failing, if nutrition feels emotional instead of practical, there's a good chance food was never the problem. Tackling the idea of bad food today on the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast.
Welcome to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast
with Garrett Williamson.
Health, wellness, exercise, nutrition, and a whole lot more. Got questions? Call us and leave a message at 251-278-EDGE or message us at Personal Edge Fitness on Facebook and Instagram, at Team PE on Twitter, or personaledgefitness.com.
Hey, welcome back to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast. My name is Garrett Williamson. I'm president of Personal Edge Fitness. Thank you so much for joining me today. And if you haven't been with us before, this is part 3 of our series, The Lie of Age, Simplifying Fitness and Nutrition. In episode 1, we simplified nutrition down to 3 foundational elements: water, calories, and protein. In episode 2, we talked about stress, the hidden macronutrient that can override everything else. Today, we're tackling one of the most damaging ideas in health and fitness, that some foods are bad. Well, they're not. That's an absolute lie. Before we get started, I want to make sure you know how to get in touch with us. If you have any questions about this episode, questions about your own fitness or nutrition, ideas for future podcasts, or just want to reach out, here's how to do it. You can call us at area code 251-278-3343. That's 251-278-EDGE, E-D-G-E for Personal Edge Fitness. You can email me directly at garrett@personaledgefitness.com. That's Garrett, G-A-R-R-E-T-T, just like Levi Garrett. Our website is personaledgefitness.com. Personal Edge Fitness is also our Facebook page. Hit me up on X at Team PE if you're so inclined. A lot of the topics we cover on this podcast come directly from questions people ask us. So don't hesitate to reach out. We would love to hear what you would like to inquire about. Let's put it that way. All right, before I get into this, I've got to revisit the lie of food. I've talked about this a lot. Let's say this clearly. There is no such thing as bad food. Anybody telling you that is lying to you. Food doesn't have morality. It doesn't judge you. It doesn't know your goals. It certainly doesn't know what day of the week it is. Yet we've turned food into a moral system. Good food, bad food, cheat meals, falling off the wagon. I ate a bunch of, pardon my language on this, but you hear this too. I ate a bunch of crap the other day. And when food becomes moral, people stop listening to their bodies and start living in guilt. That doesn't lead to health. It leads to stress. And as we've covered in episode 2, stress shuts down repair. Let me show you why this happens. Most people aren't eating quote unquote poorly because they don't care. They're eating poorly because they're overwhelmed. They're stressed. They're underfueled. They're dehydrated. Or they're emotionally exhausted. And what happens is food becomes a coping tool. And actually, it's not food that becomes the coping tool as much as it is the chemical that's in the food. What chemicals am I talking about? Salt, sugar, alcohol, caffeine. Inherently, those 4 are not inherently bad. But that's what your body's trying to crave when you're stressing or when you lack of water, you've got these challenges going on. This doesn't make someone weak. It makes them human. All right, let's look at something we always look at when it comes to nutrition, patterns versus events. This is where coaching matters. At Personal Edge, we don't look at a single food choice. We're never concerned with that. We look at patterns. A donut once in a while, that's an event. A donut once a day, that's an event. Late night overeating, not just having one food. Late night overeating every night after work, that's a pattern. And patterns tell us where stress lives. It tells us where energy is low. It tells us where expectations are unrealistic. There's no reason to fix something that isn't broken. And there's no reason to shame a pattern that's trying to solve a problem. If you don't already know about this, then you maybe know about this when it concerns other things, but you may not know about this particular situation when it concerns food and nutrition. And that's why shame never works. Shame feels motivating in the short term, but neurologically, shame increases cortisol, reduces prefrontal cortex activity, and it worsens impulse control. In other words, shame makes the very behavior you're trying to stop more likely. That's why judgment-based nutrition plans fail constantly. This is why you're not doing yourself any good by getting mad at yourself because of a particular food you had. These things don't change behavior. Shame does not change behavior. They change self-talk, and not in a good way. If any of this is hitting home and you have questions, reach out to us at area code 251-278-EDGE. Email me, Garrett at personaledgefitness.com, or message me at Team PE. Now, you're not the only one thinking these things, and your question might become a future episode. All right, as always, I'm going to show how this ties to the lie of age. People think aging causes loss of control, but what usually causes loss of control is over-restriction followed by guilt. Just like aging, food gets blamed for outcomes it didn't cause. And just like aging, the truth is simpler. When people feel safe, informed, and supported, behavior improves. Not perfectly, but consistently. This is something I like to call the big reframe. Food isn't the enemy. We need to stop making it the enemy. Patterns are messages. When you remove judgment, patterns become easy to change. Now, I can go on about this for days, but if this is not fully clear, don't think twice about calling us. Call us up and set up a free consult, and we'll be glad to go over this step by step with you. But in our next episode, we're going to talk about something most people never hear discussed in fitness, probably because they've never heard it unless they're a client of Personal Edge Fitness or a fan of the podcast. We're going to talk about the level of wellness. It's that point where you may not hit the number that you were looking for, the one you thought you needed, but you realize you're happy, healthy, capable, and at peace with what you've built. Again, this is The Lie of Age, the series on simplifying fitness and nutrition. And it's just another way we help you reach your level of wellness. And we've still got more to go.
Thanks for listening to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast with Garrett Williamson. Subscribe now and be a part of the show by calling 251-278-EDGE or message us on Facebook and Instagram at Personal Edge Fitness or at Team PE on Twitter, and visit us at personaledgefitness.com.